Heyo, your friendly neighborhood quarter guy here, and the shutdown continues. Seriously, why must America be cursed with such a dysfunctional government? But that's not what I want to talk about right now. I've just learned of another reason why I will not be purchasing the Xbox One. Apparently, someone of the higher-ups at Microsoft first said that they will never use the Kinect to gather personal data to sell to advertisers. Sounds good, right? Well, a few days later, that same person at Microsoft was at a convention of advertising agencies and pretty much told them that Microsoft will revolutionize advertising through the collection of user data. Really, Microsoft? Sure, they released a clarification, said that Kinect was never mentioned, and that they will never sell users' data unless the users themselves choose to let them. This sounds like, to me, a huge wolf in sheep's clothing. Unless they choose to do so. For one thing, it could be a completely optional service. But for another thing, it could be tucked within the end-user license agreement. If it's the latter case, then phooey. If that's the case and you just find out when you buy it, then you pretty much bought either a $500 Big Brother or a $500 doorstop. You see, this is another reason that I like Wii U. It will never do anything like that. It will never even try to collect your user information and sell it to advertisers. Because that is just plain wrong. And if the PS4 tries any of that stuff, then forget it. I'm going to be sticking with Nintendo all the way here. Anyways, I'd like to thank people who commented on my Let's Boss Play with feedback. Rest assured, any problems about the audio balance were fixed in later episodes. The next episode will be released tomorrow. Also, I've also got my rough draft of my Clash of Q Wily vs. Eggman scripted. So I'm gonna look it over, see if it needs improving. Then I'm gonna voice it and start working on it. That's gonna be interesting, I assure you. So on to user questions. First question comes from Zero Chubs. He asks, darn this guy. Just a second. Zero Chubs asks, what is your favorite strategy game? I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really that much into the strategy genre. I've tried Fire Emblem Sacred Stones and I really couldn't get into it. I tried the demo of Fire Emblem Awakening and that was pretty good, but it's still not enough to really get me into it. But when I was in college, I did play a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! The False-Bound Kingdom, which was sort of like a hybrid real-time strategy / turn-based RPG. I liked it at first, but it got old eventually. And by eventually, I mean relatively quickly. I guess deep strategy really isn't my thing. Which is why I like games like Monster Hunter, because you can get right into the action. But I'm not that much on strategy games. Next question comes from Cody Travers. He asks, who do you use most in Divekick and why? I use Dive. Mainly because he's a math nerd. Math was always my best subject in school. That's why I like Dive as a character, and that's why I also like bosses like Shomi Namimoto, because he's a math-obsessed nerd. And Dive's also a very balanced character. As you can see why in my... Recently, I took on WeDude83 in some online matches in Divekick. I'll post the link in the description below, so you can check that out. Yeah, Divekick, it's a fun game. You should really check it out if you have the opportunity. Next question comes from Night Rain Girl 43, who asks, Besides Ragna, who is your favorite BlazBlue character? And besides Hazama, who is your least favorite? For those of you who have seen my most hated characters list, you would know by now that, besides Hazama, Relius is my least favorite character. I don't like his playstyle that much, and as a character and a villain, is pretty much completely unlikable. I mean, he is an absolute monster, being involved with the development of the Murakumo units, and for turning Carl's sister and mother into machines. That is sick. As far as my other favorite BlazBlue character, I mentioned in Top 10 Astral Heats, I'm going to remake that video when Chrono Phantasma comes out, by the way, that my second favorite character is Jin Kisaragi. He's a well-balanced character, he's good with his weapon, and he's also pretty fun to play as. And he caters to a lot of different playstyles. So that's where I stand here. Next question comes from Klaus Sakuragi. He asks, do you have an interest in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle now that a North American release date has been announced? Well, hell yeah, I have an interest in it. I mean, I use Dio as my running gag. He's probably going to be a character that I use often along with Jotaro. Because, yeah. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is, for lack of a better term, bizarre. But hey, the weirder the better. I mean, normal is overrated. Words to live by. Normal is overrated! Final question comes from Purple Samurat. He asks, pizza? Thanks, but no thanks.